Welcome, everybody, and would you all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to welcome Commissioner Teal to the board today. This is his first meeting as a Douglas County Commissioner. Welcome, Commissioner Teal.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it very much. It's a real thrill to be here.
Thank you. Welcome. Mr. Ingalls, do we have certification for everything on today's agenda?
We do, Madam Chair. My office has reviewed all items on today's agenda, and they all meet legal approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. Do any of the commissioners have any disclosures for any items on today's agenda?
I have none, Madam Chair. Thank you.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. And the first item on today's agenda is citizen comment. This is for any citizen who wants to address the board for any topic that is not on the consent agenda or the regular agenda. You will have an opportunity to talk about those then. But for right now, anybody who would like to address the board on anything that is not on the agenda. And if you could come forward, give us your name, spell your last name, and give us your address, please, so that Kristen can keep track of who you are.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Kim Harburg, 9841 North Rampart Range Road.
And you spell your last name?
Haarberg.
Thank you, Kim.
Mr. Harburg is here this afternoon representing the Heritage and Trails Foundation. That is a 501c3 nonprofit associated with the Roundup Riders of the Rockies. And their mission is dedication to the perpetuation of the Western tradition associated with the relationship between the American cowboy and his horse, and the promotion, advancement, and prosperity of the state of Colorado, and the preservation and utilization of our public lands and trails for the benefit of all citizens. And just for the record, the Heritage and Trails Foundation has been very generous to Douglas County. Since 2001, they have funded a lot of our improvements, including the big riding arena that we have down at Greenland, one of our trails at Spruce Mountain, a lot of the round pens that we have at our trailheads, for a total of $68,000 that they have given us since the first of the century. And today, Mr. Harburg is here to present another check for $1,000 that will go into the Open Space Fund to help manage and maintain trails.
Thank you, Cheryl. Did you identify yourself for the record?
Oh, Cheryl Matthews for staff. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Kim, please make a comment.
All right, I just want to say, I am very proud and honored to be able to present this check to what I feel is probably the best open space committee in the entire state, if not the nation. Our members use the trails and all of the amenities that the open space provides on a very regular basis, and I'd have to say that the job that the Open Space Committee is doing, and that you as the commissioners have done with Sandstone and Lincoln and all the other projects, is second to none, and we appreciate it, and we're proud to make this donation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Do any commissioners have any comments for Kim?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, want to highlight what a special honor it is for us to hear from both of you today. Cheryl Matthews has led our open space department for so many years, and is really your leadership that has provided us so many great opportunities in Douglas County. And Mr. Harburg, your commitment to open space in this community and preserving our Western heritage is to be really recognized today. So thank you for that, and thank you for that contribution.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Harburg, thank you so much. I mean, in my experience, I've got a lot of experience with trails, with water, with open space, with parks, but it's been a real pleasure, and I appreciate your help in getting to know some of the more open space, or the open space issues here in Douglas County over these last few months. And thank you again for coming today and bringing this before us. I look forward to seeing you around a whole lot more, talking through this issue.
So Kim, thank you for being here. We hope your wife is doing well now. And we love your group and what you do to continue the Western heritage here in Douglas County. So thank you so much for your very gracious gift.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Troy, is there anyone online who has any citizen comments for now?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no hands raised.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who has any comments that they would like to make to the board about something on the consent agenda? If so, please come forward. As you're coming forward, Mr. Nolan, if you could give us your name, spell your last name and your address, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Nolan, Nolan. I live at 9407 Viaggio Way in Highlands Ranch.
Thank you.
And I'm here to accept the appointment to the Board of Trustees of Douglas County Libraries. And I wanted to acknowledge the selection committee, their time and effort in order to make this happen. I want to acknowledge the commissioners, including Roger Partridge, and of course, George and Laura and Abe. By the way, congratulations on your election and re-election. I've been impressed with Douglas County Libraries. They look like they're in great shape and they provide outstanding services. I'm looking forward to getting to know my fellow trustees and working with them, as well as Bob and Patty and the rest of the staff at Douglas County Libraries, to try to help keep them one of the best there is. That's all I had to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. Is there anyone else who has any comments for something on the consent agenda? Ms. Dunning, is there anyone online for the consent agenda?
I have no hands raised.
Thank you. So we will move on then to motions, and I'm going to just clarify that because Commissioner Teal was not here for minutes, to approve minutes that were in December, he will be abstaining and not voting on the first motion. The first motion, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to briefly acknowledge Mr. Nolan, we are incredibly grateful for your service to Highlands Ranch, and we're honored to have you on the Board of Trustees for the library. Madam Chair, I have a motion to approve the requests in all items A through G of the consent agenda.
Second. There's a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone abstaining?
Abstaining.
Thank you. That motion passes. I next will entertain a motion for the rest of the consent agenda.
Commissioner, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Agenda 3 items, H through AG, on the consent calendar.
Second.
There's a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. So now we will move on to the regular agenda. There is one item on that regular agenda. It is being presented by Cheryl Matthews of staff. Cheryl?
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Cheryl Matthews for staff. This item is a resolution to approve a shareback request from the town of Castle Rock for improvement of a number of their parks, and they wanted their entire cumulative shareback that had been reserved. It's $4,166,457.10. And these are for improvements, and I do have Jeff Smullen here from the town of Castle Rock that could talk a little bit about those improvements for the parks. They've done a phenomenal job with all of their parks for the citizens of Douglas County, and now they're going to make even more improvements. So I'll let him come up and give you kind of highlights of the different improvements.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Cheryl? Thank you, Cheryl. And if you could give us your name, spell your last name and your address, please.
Thank you. I am Jeff Smullen. I'm the Assistant Director for Parks and Recreation for the town of Castle Rock. My address is 1375 West Plum Creek Parkway up at the MAC for the town of Castle Rock. So I wanted to thank everyone for having me here today and for the Commissioner's continued support of the Shareback program. This is a very important program for the town of Castle Rock. Anybody's familiar with what we've done with some of those funds, or preserved usable open space in town. Quarry Mesa down in Crystal Valley is a great example of that. We've built new parks, regionally significant parks of P.S. Miller. Shareback funds were used for that project, as well as Festival Park. For this kind of round of funding, one of the things, while the shareback is still in place, that we wanted to go through and do renovations in existing parks within Castle Rock. So some of our older parks that need that facelift, typically we go in, bring those up to current standards. In many cases, they've been around for 30 years or perhaps more. And so we want to make sure that we make some improvements and make those last another 30 years. So in your packet, you'll see several designs that were done. This was actually all based on fairly extensive public process. Whenever we do any project in Castle Rock, we reach out to residents specifically in neighborhoods, but townwide, to see how they're using those facilities and what kind of things they like to do there and things that maybe aren't existing that we could make those better. So really our first, the first effort that we're doing in this process is to make sure that we can make sure things are safe, that we bring all those amenities up to standard where they need to be. But then if there's opportunities to maybe expand, again, Castle Rock's grown tremendously in those areas, even those neighborhoods. So can we do something to help accommodate more folks in those areas? So that's what you see in the packet. We're actually, we're requesting the entire balance now. That may not all be applied to these three projects. We actually have several other park projects that we'll be working on through Castle Rock. But this year in the 2021 budget, now that we have our preliminary plans done, we're going to go into our construction document preparation, bid documents, so we can actually start the improvement. So beginning with Butterfield Park, that's one over in the Meadows. It's one of our most highly used parks, really functions as a community park facility. There's community-wide events, music in the Meadows occurs there. So that's one that we want to focus on. Also Mitchell Gulch Park over in the Founders neighborhood. And then Plum Creek, we've got an existing park in the south end of Plum Creek, but also a new park in the kind of central portion of the neighborhood that really serves a lot of residents there. So we'll be taking a look at that too. So again, we'll be moving right into that. We want to make sure that we have the funds in place, that once those bids are done, that we've got the funds in our budget to go ahead and authorize construction contracts so that we can move forward on those projects. So wanted to move quickly as we can. We've got other new parks still in the plans in Castle Rock and Trails, but want to make sure that we keep our existing facilities intact and serving those residents just like the new parks will. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them this time.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
No, Madam Chair, just a huge sense of gratitude and thanks for your commitment to open space, parks and trails, which remains a top priority for our citizens. So thank you for that.
Jeff, thanks for finding a place for the new Plum Creek Park. I'm sure you remember my involvement in bringing that one into municipal property, so well done. Thanks. And by the way, I really appreciate the county manager, giving me a nice and easy one for our first business item.
Thank you. I do have one question for you on the Plum Creek South Park. In the packet, it indicates that this site belongs to the Douglas County School District. It was one that was set aside apparently for the benefit of children in schools. And do you have their permission? And what will happen when they decide they want to use that site or they want to sell it for the benefit of students?
Sure. And actually, the site is designated for a future school, but it is owned by the town of Castle Rock. So when Plum Creek was platted, there's a property, that property on the original plat shows that as a public land dedication for schools, and then just to the south, so it's all one parcel all the way to Heckendorf Ranch, was another parcel that was designated for parks. Those sort of got flipped over the years. We're in close contact with Douglas County School District. One of the things, that park has been in place for, like I said, a little over about 25 years now. We're coming up on 25 years. We're not expanding that. We're going to just try to replace what's there. If at such time the school district has a call for that site, there's plenty of property to do school facilities on that. So we're trying to kind of keep what's in place for the residents that are there. Do some things. If you see on the plan, there's some trail development out there because those are a low risk element to put out on site, low cost if those need to move around in the future. We don't expect, there's other sites down in that area that are set aside for schools. So in Castle Rock, typically the town takes those properties down and holds them till the school district's ready. We have, there's a site in Montaigne to the south, just north of Bell Mountain Ranch. There's another large site in Crista Valley on the south end. We expect that the school district will be looking at those first. So this fills an interim use until such time, if and when the school district ever decides to request that site.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. Thank you. So I'm going to ask now if there's anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this particular item. Seeing no one come forward for public comment, Ms. Dunning, is there anyone online for public comment?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no hands raised.
Thank you. So I'll bring it back to the board for deliberation or any other comments.
So I have no additional commentary. I think the presentation from Jeff was more than sufficient and certainly underscored our values with regard to parks and open space. So I'll be in support of the application.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Commissioner, I've personally lived beside, within vicinity of 3 of the 4 parks mentioned. Butterfield, back when I was living in the Meadows neighborhood, and then, of course, the 2 Plum Creek parks that were referenced. I know very well, I can assure you with your concerns, that the designs that I have viewed for the southern Plum Creek Park, do not infringe on that land that was originally designated for the school district. And then in the northern one, that was a community effort over the last 2 years to really bring that private property into municipal control, municipal ownership, due to the fact that we'd had some infill development interests that really, quite frankly, there were no good plans to make money, but also that infill would have disrupted the neighborhoods. So that became, so seeing Castle Rock coming forward to invest in that property is a really great thing to see, and I can assure you those will be welcome additions for those neighborhoods. And then Mitchell Gulch, my son played numerous football games at Mitchell Gulch. Again, I know it all well, so I am absolutely in favor of proceeding on this matter.
And who has the motion?
I have the motion, Madam Chair, and it's almost like we have a commissioner with a lot of experience in the town of Castle Rock. Very thankful for that. So I'll make a motion to approve a resolution approving the town of Castle Rock's request for municipal shareback of open space funds.
I'm going to second because I have all the faith in the world that Castle Rock will not put those funds to waste.
Thank you. There's a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you and congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you, and once I have the resolution signed, I will have an electronic transfer done to transfer the funds to Castle Rock.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Any other business? County Manager, Mr. DeVore, do you have anything? You have an excellent County Manager report as usual attached. Now we come to Commissioner comments. Commissioner comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, as I stare at the new commissioner and my current colleague who's in the beginning of her second term, it's an incredible honor. We had a few comments earlier, but for those listening in, we've already had a few meetings where we've had an opportunity to do some administrative work, and the efficiency, the intelligence that Commissioner Teal brings to this office, we're very, very fortunate to have him on board and looking forward to more good things to come.
Thank you, Commissioner Layden. Commissioner Teal.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. I very much appreciate those kind words. You know, it's I don't know if I've articulated this, but it has struck me several times as we've started working together, as you have brought me into the process to make sure that I don't come in perfectly cold, which I really, really appreciate, because that was not my experience in my prior experience almost 7 years ago. It's a whole lot different being on a board of 3 than a council of 7. It feels a whole lot more like a partnership. It feels a lot like the work I've done in business, more so than the work I've done in elected office. So I look forward to our continuing partnership over the next couple of years. I know that, you know, We're going to have days when we view one thing one way and we view another thing another way. I look forward to those days that we get to hash out the hard problems for the people of Douglas County, but I also look forward to the really easy days when we're all in concord, we're all in agreement, and we're proceeding forward as what I think we've all said, and I think we really recognize, Douglas County is special. Douglas County is not just special in the state of Colorado, Douglas County is special in the metro Denver area. We have a leadership challenge in front of us. I'm happy to hear that in our prior conversations that we are willing to embrace that leadership challenge and lead.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. Welcome aboard. Let me just say we've got some great staff in the audience with us, and there's two other elected officials present, Merlin Klotz, the clerk and recorder, and Dave Gill, the treasurer. So welcome, and thank you for sitting through this meeting. I think what this shows is that the elected officials in this county all row together in the same direction because we understand that that makes the county even better. So thank you for being here, gentlemen. And I told you that my goal for this year as the chair was to run an efficient meeting and be succinct and tight, and so it is now 1:53 as I call our first business meeting to a close. Thank you.